Now I'm going to do a block where we're going to modify this NPC a little bit further. I'll go down first of all and look at the NPC movement script. There's a lot of variables here. So what I'm going to try and do is clean up some of these variables. Okay, let's go through the variables. So we have a target, which currently, by checking the start function, yes, we have to assign that target manually. So I'll leave that target public. We have a move speed and a turn speed. We'll leave those public too, so that they can be modified in the inspector, so you can change those as to what you want your NPC to do. Now, is grounded is public. At the moment, I really can't see a situation where another script would want to know if the NPC character is grounded or not. Is grounded is basically whether we modify the velocity or we let the rigid body act under its own velocity if it's not grounded. So I'm going to make that private. Okay. Ray distance is the distance of the shoulder ray casts. So when he's checking for obstacles, that's how far in front of him he's going to be looking for an obstacle. So I'll leave that public so that you can modify that. Now my state I have public just so that we can see what's happening in the inspector there too. It's nothing that can be changed, although it's really good to be able to see that working in the inspector to see what state we're in. But at the moment I am going to change that to private too. As I say, it's calculated within the script. It's nothing that we can change or modify here. Now if we need to do any kind of debugging, we simply remove that out and then it will become public again so that we can watch it in the inspector. But as I say, it's nothing that we can change or modify, so I'm going to make that private also. Minimum and maximum range. These are distances in relation to the target that certain conditions are checked against and met. For example, when that NPC was chasing there, the minimum range is when he stops. The maximum range is also when the target becomes detected by the NPC as well. I'm going to work on that a bit later. But again, I'm going to leave those two variables public because they can be changed and modified as per what kind of NPC behavior you want. This NPC is chasing. This is what I'm going to be focusing on mainly, so I'm going to get back to that. Our free roam timer is just a timer which increases over time, and when that timer reaches one of its limits, then we make some adjustments. Now the timer is nothing that anything else is going to be using, it's just simply a counter for this script, so I'm going to make that private also. Okay, our free roam maximum timer. This is the value which that timer climbs to before the NPC chooses another direction to travel in. So that's something that we want to change in the inspector, so we'll leave that public. Now the range is a random value on either side of that maximum roam time. So this will be on a change as well. Now the maximum adjusted variable, this is after that calculation is made. This is where it's stored and used by the script. So again, it's something calculated within the script and only used by the script, so I'm going to make that private. And the calculated direction also is a part of this free roaming. After that timer increments and it reaches this maximum value which we've calculated, then this new direction is populated. Again, it's something that's only used by this script, so I'm going to make that private. Okay, so let's save that script. Just leave it there for a second so you can see what has changed to private. Okay, now let's go back to Unity and watch this inspector, what's happened. There we go, we've got a few less values that confusing us, and we can see a little bit clearer what we're playing with. So again, we have the target, which at the moment we assign in the inspector. We have the move speed and the turn speed of the NPC character, the distance that it starts checking for obstacles in front of it, minimum range and maximum range to the target, and we have the free roaming maximum timer, so here you can set it to 3, so he adjusts his behavior every 3 seconds, and also the range either side of that maximum value, so you can change those in the inspector too. Alright, now to get onto this chasing, because at the moment we only have 2 states really. We either have chasing or running away. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a behavior state here now, because I am actually going to add a third behavior to this NPC character. So to start off, I'm going to comment that out. That's where I'm working. I'm going to create another enum. This enum is going to be the NPC behavior. And currently we have 2 behaviors if we look at how the script works. The first one, well, it's not there yet, but I am going to change this to a free roam. So when the NPC is outside of this maximum range to the target, he's going to be free roaming. He's no longer just going to chase when he's past that maximum value. He's going to be free roaming, and then we could call chasing attacking. So that's just trying to basically describe his 2 states. He's either going to be free roaming or attacking NPC. Now the next behavior I had was free roaming, and if he's within the range of the target, he would run away from the target. So let's put that in. So there's the 2 values of the NPC behavior that I've added while we fix the script. Now I need a variable to store that state in. This will be our NPC type. What type of NPC, what kind of behavior is he going to have? And this is going to be typecast to our behavior enum. So now if I save that out, at first I've gotten rid of this, so we are going to get some errors, but we're just going to watch the inspector. Okay, it's not going to compile because there are too many errors. So we need to look and just make some decisions. Now, I've got a lot of decisions swapped the wrong way around. First we're checking the range, and then I'm checking what type of behavior the NPC is after we check the range. I'm going to be totally swapping that around. First I'm going to be checking what type of NPC behavior there is, and then based on the behavior we're going to start doing our range checks. So what I'm going to do is copy this whole function. It's a little something I do when I'm working on scripts. I'm going to paste it again below it. I'm going to call it old, because this is the old making decisions. So now if I make any mistakes when I'm modifying above, at least I can cross-reference to the old function and check what was going on there. Now our new make some decisions is going to be a switch case, which is based on what type of behavior our NPC has. So let's create that switch. So we're going to be switching based on the NPC type. And currently we have 2 cases for that. So this case NPC behavior free roam attack. What's that? So we have a case for a free roam attack behavior state. And then currently there's just one more state, which was free roam runaway. Now we've fallen to make some decisions, and then based on the type of behavior this NPC has, we're going to do some calculations. This part we can pretty much copy. So first of all, let's work on the attacking type. So we check. If the square distance is greater than the maximum range, here, before we just set it to chasing if it was outside. Now because it's not specifically to do with that other guide, I'm going to make him free roaming when he's outside the maximum range. So if our square distance check returns a square magnitude that is greater than our maximum range, he's just going to roam around freely. He's not going to try and chase us. We're out of range. Okay, so what was the next thing we were doing? So then we check if the NPC was within the minimum range. And when he's an attacking type, we made him to idle. We don't bring him in any closer. Because here, I'm going to bring in the third type. This is where he's going to start attacking instead of becoming idle. But we'll just leave it idle for now. And then, if those two conditional checks failed, we set him to chasing because he was less than the maximum range, but greater than the minimum range. So he's within range, so he's going to chase. So if those two failed, else going to start chasing. Okay, so that's the free roam attacking behavior that's been rebuilt. Now let's just look at the runaway. So we'll do the same thing. We'll just go through each conditional check we did before and fix that up. So if it was a free roaming type and the square distance checked against the maximum range and it was greater, then we could free roam. NPC didn't feel like it was in danger. Okay, if it was within the minimum range, definitely too close to the target. So you saw the NPC wanted to get away from that target. It's too close. And then finally, under the running away state, if it was within the middle ground, if it wasn't too far away and it wasn't too close, it was saying it's still too close for comfort. I'm going to add that final consideration there. Okay, so this has maintained the exact same behavior. So that was just for reference, so I can get rid of all of that. Now, even though I can comment all this out, because I said I'll keep it there just as a reference. But we're going to play test now, and if everything works out fine, then we can completely get rid of that. That's just some old script that wasn't optimal. So now we'll let it compile out. Okay, thankfully there's nothing that's going on there. Now we have an NPC type. While I'm talking about cleaning this up, let's put the type up to the top. So we'll choose the type as soon as we add that to our movement script. So let's go to those variables. Get rid of that, because there's no longer a boolean involved. I'll take the enum and the variable that stores the enum and bring it right up to the top, right above the target. So the first thing on the script is going to be the behavior type that we set for the NPC. Now this variable here too, I was also going to do an example using a target position, as well as using a target as an object, the transform of the object. But I've decided that I'm just going to work with transforms of targets to make things a lot simpler when I add more things in. So I'm going to get rid of this variable here too. Okay, so nothing else has changed. Let's go back and check that compilation. Okay, so we have our type and target, the assign, the move and turn speed of the NPC, the distance that it checks for obstacles at, the minimum range and maximum range, which you just saw when I was going through the behaviors, what they do, and then just basing on some calculations if it's in free roam, how long before it makes a decision to change its direction, and a variable that randomizes that. So if he's a free roam attacking, I wonder if he is actually within 45 of our player. I think the player is further away, so we should see this go into a free roaming state. Okay, see, he didn't go directly towards the player, he's in a free roam state, so he's just wandering around by himself, making decisions somewhere between 3.5 and 6.5 seconds. That's not to the player, that's just its random direction. You can see the player over there. Now let's see if he does get down within that 45. Let's move the player around. Okay, so you can see he's come within that 45. So he immediately became an attacking type. So this is where I was thinking about leaving his state public, just so that you could see what's happening. As I said, I've been trying to clean up the inspector there. It's nothing that we want to modify. So let's grab our player and move him right away. So he's now gone to a free roam state. Bring him in within that range, and he's gone back to chasing because he wants to attack. Okay, in case you're wondering what's going on there, I probably have my player way up in the air. See, the player is above him. Okay. And similarly, if I leave the player over there and I increase the maximum range, we can't change that in runtime because remember these are distances as a magnitude, and we calculate a square magnitude to cross-reference against. So I can't check that. I can't modify that in runtime. Okay, well let's quickly check the other state that we've introduced. There's a free roam running away. Well, not introduced, we've cleaned up. So the same thing again. There's a player somewhere over there, well past that 45 maximum range. So this again should go to free roaming. Okay, looks like he's gone the other way, but he's just free roaming. Yeah, I've made an turn decision. Definitely going the opposite way. This is going to be tricky. Stuck on the tree, but you saw we will bump his way around with that modification we made in the last video. Okay, what happens if we bring the player in nice and close? There you go. Doesn't want to be anywhere near that player. So he's completely run away, and that must be the 45 distance there. So he's gone back to free roam. Bring him in too close again. Can't see where he's in the 3D. There we go. So that part's working too. Okay, so we're starting to introduce the different types of NPC that this NPC script could be used for. And we just modified the script there. So again, I'm going to do what I've done in the previous videos. I'm just going to leave it there for a second, and you can check all the changes that have been made. Okay, and I'm going to scroll down to make some decisions. I'll clean that up a little bit so you can see that a bit better. I'll put our behavior type into a switch case now, and then we do our range checks depending on the type of behavior. Now, because I'm happy all this is working, I am going to delete this reference, this old function that I had here. Okay, so again, just leaving that, I'll make some decisions for a second. Then we're going to start looking how we can introduce this to our behavior.